Hisense is almost more synonymous with e-paper devices than any other company. They have a whopping 13 devices using e-paper screens, were one of the first to do color, and they have both their own standalone hi-fi music player and dedicated ebook reader. More impressive is the fact that they have more e-ink smartphones than all other companies in the world combined, topping the charts at 9 different models. And the A9 adds to that number. This is an absolutely beautiful smartphone with every modern convenience in the books. Dual SIM, headphone jack, cameras on the front and back, and its own proprietary e-ink button exclusive to Hisense and Hisense alone. Other than the fact that this is running an e-paper display, this is a fully functional smartphone from head to toe, with a fingerprint sensor on the side and a beautifully tooled equalizer-esque speaker grille. So let's dive into this beautiful smartphone, starting with the UI. This UI is laid out very nicely, and it's got a little bit of an overall polished feel from the last gen. It's called Ink OS, which is the name of the operating system. If you swipe to the left, you still can take advantage of all the HiSmart services where you're going to have all of your stuff when it comes to shortcuts, screen time, data, etc. You can add and remove these cards as you see fit. In the middle, this is where you're going to find your main screen, and it is where all of your things are going to be, like your widgets, and every time you press home, effectively this is dedicated for your home menu. If you swipe to the right, you're going to see more pages, so the widgets you can add your apps itself, desktop, weather, etc. We have a widget of the JD Reader Store, which I'll show you in a little bit, and everything you've installed either from the App Store on the device or side-loaded will show up here. You can see we have Amazon Kindle. These are going to be your quick keys like camera, your messages, your calling, and if you do the swipe down from the top, you get your 5 quick keys as well as your glow light capabilities. Now if you swipe down even further, you get an entire grid of 20 different things. This is going to be everything from power saving mode all the way to screen record, pretty much everything that a smartphone is meant to have. We're going to be saying that a lot because a lot of you guys don't really realize this is a fully fledged smartphone. It just doesn't have an LCD LED screen. It has an e-paper screen. This is where you'll also control your glow light. This is useful for managing your automatic modes of your glow light and, more importantly, your speed modes. You have 4 speed modes: clear, balanced, smooth, and speed. We'll get into this when we do the video portion of this, but that is very, very useful. It is extremely useful and does make or break the usability of these devices. Clicking on the bottom here will take you to e-ink settings. We have an entire video dedicated to this. If you click the video at the top of the video you see right now, there'll be a card there. Go ahead and click on that because we cover everything in here: bleaching app, input method, dynamic refresh, front anti-aliasing. It is a lot to cover. There's a lot of different things you can do here, but it is worth checking out the video. There's good and bad news to the onboard services, we'll say. The good news is that they have them. Bad news is that they're all in Chinese. So whether you go to the JD store or any other Chinese bookstore on here, it is going to be only in Chinese. So we recommend you utilize things like the Barnes & Noble app, the Kobo app, the Amazon app, etc. The reading experience on this is very, very good. Reason being, you can install any app, so really it's only going to be as good as the app. But how can you go wrong with the Amazon Kindle app? And because this is a phone, you can turn the pages with one hand. So whether you're right-handed with your thumb or left-handed with your fingertips, you can actually turn the pages left and right utilizing the volume controls, which is really cool because it makes it kind of in the realm of a micro handheld e-reader, even though it's over a 6-inch screen. Also, this is bigger than a Kindle screen for the most part, but it just doesn't look like it because the screen is measured diagonally, 6.1, whereas if you put something into the frame, like a 6-inch, you'll see that it actually looks significantly smaller, even though it isn't. This basically does everything the Kindle app will do because, well, it's the Kindle app. And also, if you want to speed things up and you don't want to have any issues with refresh, you can obviously choose your speed modes, click on something, and the thing just kind of whizzes by. Speed mode is going to be what you live and die by on this phone. Reason being, when you get into this phone, you're going to have that level of speed that is to be expected, because that's what you're transitioning from when you have an LCD phone. Speed mode certainly does make that transition much easier. Although this is a fairly small screen to be running manga on, it's a great experience. Reason being, it's a smaller, condensed screen with 300 ppi. So when you're reading manga on something large like a 10-inch or something like that, sometimes those devices fall within the realm of 227, 212 ppi at times. When you read manga, and anything really, on a smaller screen, it is more condensed, so you don't see the shortcomings of the resolution quite as much. And this is no exception. This looks very, very nice. This already naturally has a high resolution. Add that with an amazing contrast and overall just high performance screen. It is a joy to read on. And if anything gets too difficult to read, simply pinch and zoom. Look how fluid that is. That is absolutely perfect. There's almost no ghosting or artifacting of any kind. You can see right beside the character's head in question, there's almost nothing left behind after you zoomed in the image. This is one of the cleanest navigatable devices we've seen in a long time. Hisense is absolutely killing it, and leave it to them to have a dedicated e-ink button. This thing is really cool. What you do is it is a button on the side that does protrude, unlike the power button, which is flush, which is kind of cool. You press it once to have it do whatever you set it to, double click or long press to do all three things respectively, and you can change these to a lot of different things. A single press you can assign to anything: reverse the page, turn off and on night mode, play your music. To keep it simple, we have it at screen refresh, so if I press it once, it's going to refresh the screen, which I do highly recommend. If you have a double click, you can do the same amount of choices. Double click is very nice to have the backlight off and on respectively, so it'll actually turn off and on without you having to go here, slide them on, etc. So that's really cool. If you get lost in all this and need a refresher, they have you covered with the e-ink button introduction. You click on that and it tells you everything you need to know about the e-ink button. It really is them going above and beyond with their delivery. We can't review a smartphone or a device with a camera and e-ink without showing you the camera. This is a full camera, and surprisingly, it is doing the best job of a camera we've ever seen on an e-ink device, period. Now granted, there aren't many. There's only one pocketbook, a couple no-name AliExpress specials, and the rest of the devices are all Hisense. So really, these are the only guys in the modern age doing cameras. It is really nice though, it's really fast, and it obviously defaults into speed mode. It will not let you go into any other mode, obviously because that is just not possible and it won't work. You have a bunch of ways to change things too. In fact, you can isolate and associate the volume buttons to being your zoom, which is really cool because that allows you now to be able to zoom with the touch of your fingers. You have a bunch of other things too. You can actually turn on the light, like so, in which case your light is running full blast, or you can turn on the flash as well. So when you take the picture, it'll be that respective picture. There's also a bunch of settings you have here. Now, unfortunately, no, it doesn't shoot in 4K. The maximum is 1080p, but that is really nice because it is still technically HD, even though it's not what we're all used to with 4K. You have different aspect ratios too: 4:3, 1:1, 16:9, and full screen. You also have assistive grid where you can do thirds, tic-tac-toes, etc. Starting off in clear mode, navigating around is pretty good even in the most beautiful mode, which can be considered the base mode or HD. If you want something a little bit more balanced, I would choose balance or smooth. It isn't really necessary to go into any sort of maximum speed mode when it comes to navigating around websites. You can, it'll just keep getting better and better. You can see the carousels also is just super smooth under smooth mode. That's kind of what it's for. The extreme circumstances for video, etc., speed mode would be the one. You get that inertia effect, you get everything just very, very snappy. There really is no compromise under speed mode when it comes to basically anything. The only downside is that you get a little bit of ghosting from the background, but even then, this is handling it better than almost anyone else in the business. After consistent releases of e-ink phones by Hisense, you have to wonder, when are people going to start switching over to e-ink phones as their primary? Well, with the A9, it's never been easier. This is without a doubt the closest we have ever come to being able to make the switch, although we're not quite there yet. What are we missing? Color. Hisense definitely does have a trend of releasing a black and white model first, and then cannibalizing it with a color model. Although there is no color model announcement as per the date of this video, you can rest assured that you won't be disappointed with this phone. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.